what is possible?
Okay, well, time travel into the future is already possible, as you pointed out. We've seen that with the cosmonauts, and it's been an experiment, in fact, that the public generally isn't aware of. This was done in 1971 at the Naval Observatory.
For centuries, people have been fascinated by the idea of time travel. Whether going back to the past or looking into the future, this concept sparks curiosity and imagination. And despite doubts about its practicality, there are intriguing stories of people claiming they've experienced time travel firsthand. Could time travel be possible? And what terrifying message could this time traveler have returned with? Join us as we unravel the mystery behind the man with the time machine who suddenly vanished and now reappeared with a terrifying message. The infamous Time Machine Man. In 1995, a young man named Mike Markham, aged 21, residing in Stanberry, Missouri, and pursuing a degree in electrical engineering, embarked on an extraordinary quest to construct a time machine. His motivation was not as ordinary as his project. He aimed to amass wealth by adventuring into the future and obtaining the winning lottery numbers. Despite lacking formal training, his determination knew no bounds. Working from the scattered borders of his back porch, resembling a graveyard of discarded home appliances with fragments of old TVs, radios, and CDs spread about, Mike researched his experiments. His primary focus was a device, Jacob's Ladder, which he intelligently modified, equipped with a custom-built electronic transformer, generating a formidable 20,000 volts. Mike's setup deviated from conventional household voltages in the US. To mitigate the impact of air pressure and temperature fluctuations, which could hinder his endeavors, Mike improvised, employing wire hangers and lasers to stabilize the environment around the conductors. Amid his experiment, Mike made a remarkable observation. A swirling vortex, approximately 8 inches in diameter, materialized before him. Eager to probe further, he conducted a series of tests, repeatedly introducing a sheet metal screw into the vortex's embrace. Astonishingly, with each attempt, the screw vanished, only to reappear moments later, several feet away. Mike speculated that the screw had journeyed through time, re-emerging once temporal stability was restored. Lifted by this revelation, Mike resolved to raise his experimentation to extraordinary heights. His ambition? To construct a massive 8-foot time machine, surpassing the modest dimensions of his initial prototype. However, formidable challenges loomed large on the horizon. The necessity of his endeavor demanded copious amounts of power, while setbacks, including a catastrophic fire engulfing his apparatus, threatened to derail his aspirations. Undeterred by adversity, Mike recalibrated his approach, envisioning a revamped machine powered by larger transformers capable of generating even higher voltages. Yet, the exorbitant cost of procuring such equipment posed a formidable obstacle. Faced with financial constraints, Mike resorted to a dubious course of action, burglarizing a local power plant to pilfer antiquated transformers. However, his clandestine operation precipitated an unintended consequence, a widespread blackout that plunged his neighborhood into darkness for hours. Subsequently apprehended by authorities, Mike found himself entangled in a legal quagmire, accused of theft and sabotage. During his trial, he candidly admitted his motives, conceding his pursuit of lottery winnings to fund his research endeavors. Despite a brief stint behind bars, Mike emerged undaunted, embracing his newfound notoriety as Madman Mike, immortalized by local radio broadcasts discussing his exploits and aspirations. Amidst the skepticism of his detractors, Mike found solace in the support of his listeners, whose generosity breathed new life into his endeavors. Empowered by their contributions, he embarked on his most audacious venture yet, a time machine capable of accommodating human subjects. However, as the specter of completion loomed tantalizingly close, Mike vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of conjecture and intrigue. In the aftermath of his disappearance, tantalizing rumors surfaced, suggesting Mike's involvement in enigmatic incidents spanning multiple decades. Reports of a mysterious death on a California beach in the 1930s, accompanied by the discovery of a peculiar metallic apparatus resembling a modern cell phone, fueled speculation of temporal intervention. Yet, against all odds, Mike resurfaced in the digital realm, dispelling rumors of his demise and offering tantalizing glimpses into his ongoing pursuits. However, skepticism persists, with doubts lingering regarding his true identity and the veracity of his claims. As speculation swirls, the enigma of Madman Mike endures a testament to the enduring allure of temporal exploration and the mysteries that lie beyond. As many physicists think that time travel is not possible, many other hypotheses and theories believe that traveling through time is achievable. Exceptional theories of time travel. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, time slows down when massive objects get close to gravitational fields. This theory connects time with space, forming what's called space-time. In simple terms, it means that time and space are interlinked. Imagine time as a fabric woven together with space. When big things, like planets or stars, hang out near each other, they create a sort of time slowdown, which scientists call time dilation. Think of it like when you're driving a car and hit traffic, time feels like it's moving slower. This effect has been shown in experiments with super-accurate clocks placed in fast-moving planes or strong gravitational fields. Now imagine if we could go back in time, like in the movies. Some folks have suggested some wild ideas to make it happen. One of these ideas involves something called closed time-like curves, or CTCs. These are like time loops that could theoretically let you go back in time and end up back where you started, but in the past. Some brainy scientists have come up with solutions to the complicated maths equations in general relativity that hint at the possibility of worlds that spin around and around, creating these time loops. These time loops aren't all fun and games. They bring up big problems, like the grandfather paradox. Imagine if you went back in time and did something to stop your grandpa from meeting your grandma, then you wouldn't exist. But if you don't exist, how did you go back in time in the first place? It's a real brain twister. Some clever minds at MIT have thought up ways to use something called quantum teleportation to dodge these paradoxes. They figure out what a time traveler could and couldn't do to avoid messing up the timeline. But it's still all just theory. No one's done it. But here's where things get even weirder. Quantum mechanics, which deals with super tiny stuff like atoms and particles, throws another wrench into the time travel works. There's this thing called the uncertainty principle, which says that you can't know everything about a tiny particle all at once. It's like trying to catch a tiny bug in the dark. You might know where it is, but not how fast it's moving. Some scientists think that because of quantum mechanics, there could be lots of other universes out there, each one with its version of reality. So while we're sitting here in our universe, there could be another version of us out there making different choices and living different lives. It's like a big cosmic choose-your-own-adventure book. But before you start packing your bags for a trip to another universe, remember that these ideas are still up for debate among scientists. Some think they're onto something, while others think it's just too far out there. Speaking of far out there, let's talk about the size of the universe. It's mind-bogglingly huge. There are billions, maybe even trillions of galaxies out there, each one filled with stars and planets. Some scientists think that the universe might be so big that it's like a never-ending loop. Imagine flying around the universe and ending up right back where you started. It's enough to make your head spin. But even if we could figure out how to travel between different universes or loop back in time, it's not as easy as hopping in a spaceship and hitting the gas. There are some big roadblocks in the way, like the amount of energy it would take. Right now, our technology isn't anywhere close to being able to handle the kind of energy needed for time travel. We haven't even figured out how to make objects go faster than light, which is a whole other problem. And then there's the issue of dark energy and dark matter. which are these mysterious things that we can't see or detect directly. Some scientists think they're necessary for certain theories to work, but we're still not sure what they actually are or if they even exist. So, while time travel might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, it's still a work in progress for scientists. There's a lot we still don't know, and a lot of hurdles we need to overcome before we can start planning our trips to the past or future. Now, let's look into a real-life story that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi novel. Meet Sir Victor Goddard, an air marshal who accidentally stumbled into the future, or so the story goes. Back in 1935, Sir Goddard was tasked with checking out an abandoned airbase in Drem, Scotland. As he flew over the base, he saw that it was falling apart, with grass growing through the cracks in the tarmac and cows grazing where planes used to roar. It was a sad sight, but nothing out of the ordinary. But here's where things get strange. When Sir Goddard flew back over the base 4 years later, in 1939, everything was different. The base was buzzing with activity, planes were flying overhead, and the whole place looked like it had been fixed up and brought back to life. It was as if Sir Goddard had jumped forward in time without even realizing it. Now, some people say that Sir Goddard's story is just a tall tale, while others think it's proof that time travel is possible, at least accidentally. Whatever the case may be, it's a fascinating glimpse into the mysteries of time and space. As we move away from these prominent theories that support that time travel is possible, Sir Goddard's encounter with a strange storm while flying his airplane holds many secrets waiting to be uncovered. The mysterious, strong wind. While flying his small plane later, Sir Goddard came across a strange storm. Strong winds and odd brownish-yellow clouds surrounded his plane, causing him to lose control and spiral down. Somehow, he regained control and came out of the storm into bright sunlight, turning the previously rough day into a calm and sunny one. Making things even weirder, he saw the airfield he had checked before looked clean and working, despite being abandoned earlier. Mechanics dressed in blue overalls worked on yellow planes on the runway, different from the Air Force's planes in 1935. One plane puzzled Sir Goddard, and he couldn't figure out what it was. The quick fixing of the base in such a short time confused him even more. Also, the mechanics' clothes were different from the usual khaki uniforms of 1935, and the yellow planes were not painted silver like the Air Force's. Despite trying to make sense of it, when Sir Goddard returned to Drem 4 years later during a European war, he found the airbase unchanged from his previous visit. The same mechanics in blue coveralls worked on the same yellow planes, including the mysterious Miles Magister he had seen before. Some doubters suggested that Sir Goddard might have landed somewhere else in 1935, saying he wasn't at the abandoned Drem airbase. But this doesn't explain the details of his story. For example, the Miles Magister didn't fly until 1937, after Sir Goddard saw it. Also, the mechanic uniforms and plane colors weren't used until later years. The sudden disappearance of the strange storm, revealing a sunny day, adds to the mystery, hinting at something supernatural beyond normal understanding. Sir Goddard's experience isn't unique, as others have also claimed accidental time travel, but in another case, some people allegedly met a time traveler from the past, adding to the mystery of time-related opinions. Time Traveler, on Highway 167. In 1988, Ken Moe penned an article for Strange magazine, recounting a peculiar encounter dubbed Time Traveler. The event unfolded on October 20th, 1969, as two individuals, referred to as Elsie and Charlie, journeyed along Highway 167 towards Lafayette, Louisiana, from Abbeville, Louisiana, where they had enjoyed lunch earlier that day. The clock struck 1:30 p.m., accompanied by pristine weather, a clear blue sky, and a refreshing 60-degree temperature, setting the scene for an ordinary drive. As they cruised down the open highway, a vehicle gradually approached. Initially, it seemed unremarkable, until its distinct features caught Elsie and Charlie's attention. Despite resembling an antique relic, the car boasted a pristine exterior, akin to a museum exhibit. Its standout feature? A conspicuously large orange license plate stamped with the year 1940. This anomaly piqued Elsie and Charlie's curiosity, prompting them to scrutinize the vehicle further. Their inspection revealed an unexpected sight. A young woman, garbed in attire reminiscent of the 1940s, occupied the driver's seat. Beside her sat a child, obscured beneath layers of heavy clothing, despite the mild weather, a perplexing sight in itself. The woman's fur coat and ornate hat adorned with vibrant feathers seemed out of place in the late 60s, raising eyebrows further. Approaching the vehicle, Elsie and Charlie were startled by the woman's distressed expression, betraying a sense of panic or confusion. Sensing her need for assistance, Elsie offered help, prompting a nod of affirmation from the troubled driver. However, communication proved challenging as the woman struggled to hear amid rolled-up windows. After gesturing for her to pull over, Elsie and Charlie were taken aback when, moments later, the vehicle and its occupants vanished without a trace, leaving them baffled by the inexplicable disappearance. Even more bewildering was the sudden appearance of another vehicle behind the mysterious car, whose driver, equally confused, sought answers from Elsie and Charlie. Their exchange with the third driver yielded no explanations, prompting speculation about the vanished vehicle's fate. Despite the surreal nature of the encounter, the trio exchanged contact information, maintaining correspondence in the years that followed, seeking validation for their shared experience. The enigma persists. Were the woman and child inadvertent time travelers, thrown from 1940 into the future, or trapped in a perpetual limbo, traversing timelines with no return to their era? Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, another extraordinary tale unfolded, chronicled in The Little Giant Book of Eerie Thrills and Unspeakable Chills. In 1932, journalists J. Bernard Hutton and Joachim Brandt embarked on a routine assignment at Hamburg shipyard in Germany. Little did they know, their mundane day would soon spiral into the realm of the inexplicable. As they wrapped up their coverage, the distant drone of aircraft engines shattered the tranquility, heralding a sudden onslaught of chaos and destruction. Fighter planes filled the sky, dropping bombs that rent the air with deafening explosions. In mere moments, the shipyard transformed into a war zone, engulfed in mayhem and devastation. Hutton and Brandt fled towards Hamburg, seeking refuge from the carnage, only to encounter a bewildering sight upon their arrival: a city untouched by the recent turmoil. The once violent skies had cleared, buildings stood unscathed, and life carried on as usual, as if the cataclysmic events had never occurred. Their attempts to corroborate their harrowing experience fell on deaf ears, dismissed by skeptical colleagues as a product of inebriation or imagination run wild. Even Brandt's photographic evidence failed to convince doubters, depicting a pristine shipyard devoid of any signs of conflict. Years later, amid the backdrop of World War II, Bernard Hutton stumbled upon a newspaper article that reignited the haunting memories of that fateful day in 1932. The details of a successful raid on Hamburg shipyard by the Royal Air Force reflected the events he and Brandt had witnessed, confirming the truthfulness of their extraordinary encounter, albeit 11 years in advance. While we've been talking about people stumbling upon time travel or witnessing it, this man was determined to capitalize on his time-traveling adventures to achieve success. Enigma Time Traveling Con Man. On a chilly day in January 2003, a man named Andrew Carlson found himself in hot water with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, better known as the FBI, suspected of engaging in insider trading. What caught the attention of authorities was his remarkable financial feat. Within a mere fortnight, Carlson skyrocketed from a modest $800 to a staggering $350 million through a series of 126 high-stakes trades, miraculously, without incurring any losses. His uncanny success drew comparisons to the legendary Midas, whose touch turned everything to gold. Such meteoric wealth accumulation in such a short span defied conventional wisdom and raised red flags at the Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, prompting the intervention of law enforcement agencies. As the FBI delved into the matter, Carlson dropped a bombshell during interrogation. He claimed to hail from the distant future, specifically the year 2256. According to him, his prescient knowledge of stock market fluctuations stemmed from his time-traveling exploits, granting him a unique advantage in trading. He even purported to possess insights into the whereabouts of notorious figures like Osama bin Laden and breakthroughs in medical science, including AIDS treatment. Naturally, Carlson's fantastical assertions left investigators skeptical, dismissing them as either delusions or a ploy to evade accountability. However, before they could unravel the truth, Carlson vanished into thin air shortly after securing bail, eluding the authorities' persistent manhunt. His disappearance only deepened the intrigue surrounding his enigmatic personality. Remarkably, Carlson's saga did not begin with a bang. Rather, it emerged from obscurity in the early 2000s. Curiously, there existed no trace of his existence before this period. No birth records, educational transcripts, medical histories, or even a driver's license. This absence of a paper trail only fueled speculation about his true identity and origins. Despite his disappearance, debates continue to swirl around Carlson's extraordinary tale. Skeptics argue that his failure to substantiate his time-traveling claims while in custody undermines their credibility, suggesting instead that he was a hard con artist skillful at evading authorities. However, one compelling detail adds a twist to the narrative. Carlson allegedly accurately predicted the timing of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, leaving pundits scratching their heads. Intriguingly, the mystery of Andrew Carlson persists, leaving a trail of unanswered questions in its wake. Was he truly a visitor from the future, armed with advanced knowledge beyond human comprehension? Or was he merely a masterful illusionist, orchestrating an elaborate scheme to manipulate the financial markets for personal gain? The truth remains elusive, casting a shadow of doubt over one of the most captivating financial mysteries of the 21st century. The case of Andrew Carlson's sudden wealth is astonishing, but most intriguing is the haunting disappearance of young Thomas Johnson, leaving us to ponder the enigmatic mysteries that defy explanation. Mysterious disappearance of Thomas Johnson. In the records of strange events, one story stands out. Starting in the summer of 1912, with a 10-year-old boy named Thomas Johnson, living with his family on a large farm in the middle of New York City, Thomas's playground included not only fields, but also a beautiful lake, hinting at a fate both mysterious and haunting. Thomas enjoyed playing in the green area with his friends, but there was a spooky feeling around the lake that even kids could sense. Thomas's dad, who looked after the farm, had doubts about the mysterious waters. There were rumors of animals disappearing when they got too close to its dark depths. Despite his dad's warnings, Thomas couldn't resist the lake's attraction. Ignoring the scary stories, he went on a dangerous adventure with his friends. Driven by curiosity, they got closer, only to see a powerful whirlpool forming in the water. Unfortunately, Thomas got caught in the whirlpool and was pulled under, while his friends watched in shock. They panicked, calling for help, but it was too late for Thomas. His dad rushed to the scene, but couldn't save his son from the deep water. This marked the beginning of a sad and hopeless story. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into years, with no sign of Thomas. His dad felt guilty and sad, spending time by the lake alone, a memory of his lost son. 60 years later, in July 1970, Thomas's dad witnessed a strange sight on the lake. he saw a vortex forming, bringing up a figure from the water, reminding him of the day Thomas disappeared. In an unbelievable turn of events, Thomas returned, seemingly unchanged by time. But while only moments had passed for Thomas, the world had aged 60 years, a mystery that couldn't be explained. Authorities tried to confirm this strange event with forensic evidence. Fingerprints proved the impossible. The boy who vanished in 1912 was standing in front of them, a living proof of time's mystery. However, Thomas himself didn't explain his journey through time. People speculated about what happened, from alien abduction to the unlikely idea of time travel. Thomas Johnson's story went beyond just a tale, offering glimpses into the mysterious nature of time. In the history of science, Thomas Johnson's story is proof of our curiosity about the unknown. Whether it was cosmic forces or fate, his story makes us wonder about the mysteries beyond our understanding. As time goes on, the legend of Thomas Johnson remains a puzzle for future generations to think about. Thomas Johnson's adventure was fascinating, but more interestingly, is photo evidence proving that time travel is possible. Edward's captivating photo of year 5000. In a surprising turn of events, a man by the name of Edward emerged seemingly out of thin air, boldly declaring himself to be a time traveler. Naturally, such a claim warrants evidence, and Edward chose the setting of Armenian Park to unveil his extraordinary tale. Concealing his true identity behind a hidden face and distorted voice, he regaled his audience with tales of his purported journey to the year 5000. What sets Edward's account apart is the intriguing detail he shared about encountering a submerged city. He claimed that he was involved in a secret project back in 2004, which facilitated his leap 3,000 years into the future. Upon arrival in the distant era, he found himself standing on a wooden platform, surrounded by a world crafted entirely of wood. Despite being in what he claimed to be the future version of Los Angeles, the striking distinction was the flooded landscape, a consequence of the ice caps melting due to rampant global warming. Edward's narrative delved further into the societal changes he allegedly witnessed. He described conversing with beings he deemed evolved versions of humans, resembling more akin to beasts. According to his account, civilization as we know it had ceased to exist by the year 5000, painting a bleak picture of humanity's fate. The crucial moment of Edward's presentation was the unveiling of a photograph supposedly illustrating Los Angeles submerged underwater. While skeptics were quick to dismiss it as a fabrication, Edward attributed its surreal appearance to the effects of time travel. This photograph, he claimed, served as tangible evidence of his extraordinary journey. Despite Edward's conviction in his story, skepticism loomed large among experts and the general public alike. The notion of traversing a millennium through time remains a staple of fiction, downgrading such narratives to the realms of books and movies. Consequently, many doubted the authenticity of Edward's tale, speculating that the photograph had been digitally altered to support his claims. The fascination with time travel persists as an enduring topic of intrigue and speculation. Edward's account, while captivating, invites scrutiny and skepticism in equal measure. As the debate rages on, the veracity of his claims and the authenticity of his evidence remains shrouded in mystery, awaiting further exploration and investigation. During Edward's fascinating trip to the year 5000 and Noah's interesting discoveries about 2030, the enduring fascination with time travel still captures attention and sparks lively discussions. The Time Traveler, from 2030. In 2018, a man called Noah grabbed attention by saying he was a time traveler from the year 2030. His story spread fast, catching the interest of many. Noah said he was part of a secret government team sent back to our time to stop a Mexican drug gang. But because one team member messed up, they all got fired, leaving Noah stuck in 2018. Noah shared interesting ideas about the future, making people curious. He predicted that Yolanda Renee King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter, would become the U.S. president. He also knew a lot about US politics and said Donald Trump would win again. But he didn't say who would come after Trump, keeping that a secret for later. One of Noah's big ideas was about making changes to babies' genes before they're born, which could prevent diseases and change how they look. This could be a big deal for the future. But Noah also said social media would change, with Instagram becoming less popular while Facebook and Snapchat stayed strong. This shows how people's online habits might change over time. When asked about aliens, Noah said scientists might live on Mars one day, showing how humans might explore other planets. He also mentioned a pill that could stop aging, which he claimed kept him looking young even though he was old. This got people excited about living longer and staying youthful. Noah didn't just talk about technology. He also guessed about future world events, like possible fights between South Korea and the US, and the Queen of England passing away. Some wondered if Noah really knew the future, or if he was just making things up. In short, Noah's story got people thinking about what could happen in the future. Whether he was right or not, he got people talking about time and what's ahead for humanity. Which of these enigmatic claims of time travelers do you find intriguing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.